Hi, this is Maria Riegger, your resident Gemini, with another Positive Parenting with Astrology video. Today we're talking about one of my favorite topics, which is how to parent your Scorpio child when you're a Gemini mom or a Gemini dad. So by the end of this video, you will have the tools necessary to better understand your Scorpio child and better connect with them. Before we begin, please like this video and subscribe to my channel and hit that bell for your notifications for your free weekly Positive Parenting with Astrology content. Now, you may wonder why I have experience or how I have experience with Scorpio people. Well, let me tell you, I have never been able to avoid these people. So my father was a Scorpio sun. My mother is a Scorpio Mars. My sister has a first house Pluto. My son has a Scorpio sun and a Scorpio Mercury. Most of my personal planets, including my son, are in the 8th house, which, as we know, is the house associated with Scorpio and Scorpio themes. And my partner has a Scorpio moon. I have never been able to avoid Scorpio people, so I've spent a large part of my life seeking to understand them better. Scorpio is an extremely intriguing sign. It is not a sign that is easy to understand, but it is worth the effort you put into understanding Scorpio people. So, and I have also written a book on Scorpio children, and you can get the first couple of chapters free by clicking on the link in the video description. So here's what we're going to talk about today. First, I'm going to give you a brief overview of Scorpio traits, of Gemini traits. Then we're going to talk about how Scorpio and Gemini can help each other develop their own intrinsic traits in a healthy way. They actually have some complementary traits. It's very interesting. And we're going to close by giving you Gemini parents some positive parenting tips to better connect with your Scorpio children. So Scorpio is a fixed sign and a water sign. Fixed sign means that the person is intent on maintaining the stability of things. It's a little bit difficult to make transitions. It's a little bit more difficult for fixed nature people to change and accept change. But ultimately, they're interested in maintaining things as they were before and maintaining the stability of things. Water sign means they approach the world more from a place of emotion, okay? This is very important. So Scorpio being fixed and being water, they tend to wallow deep in their emotions. It's a very different energy from Gemini. They tend to wallow deep in their emotions, and Scorpio, above everything, needs to feel. They need to feel intense emotions. Even the negative emotions, feeling negative emotions intensely is better to a Scorpio than feeling nothing. They have to feel. That is the crux of the Scorpio. Okay, what else? They always want to get to the bottom of things. They love to probe. They're all about depth, okay? Like the bottom of the ocean. They're all about depth. They can be relentless in the pursuit of what they want. They seek to know everything about the people that are closest to them. That means they sometimes like to snoop, but it's not snooping for the sake of snooping. It's snooping for the sake of understanding the people that are closest to them, which can feel a little bit invasive to a Gemini. We'll talk about that in a minute. Scorpios also bond very closely with their parents. They tend to merge with the other person in the relationship. If it's a parent-child relationship or a close friendship, or when they're older and they're adults in a romantic relationship, they tend to merge. And that, to an air sign, that can feel a little bit invasive. So they bond very closely with parents, and Scorpio children generally, like pretty much all water sign children, need more attention and affection than the average child from parents. So Gemini energy. Gemini is a mutable air sign. Mutable means they kind of waffle between, it's a very changeable energy. So they can waffle between fixed and cardinal. So we talked about fixed signs. The cardinal signs are like Capricorn, Aries. They're intent on moving forward. They're intent on progression. They're intent on advancement, getting things done, right? They deal a little bit better with change and transformation than the fixed signs. So Gemini, being mutable, can exhibit fixed or cardinal tendencies. Nature of air is to move very quickly over a wide breadth of topics, for example, or life experiences. They cover a lot of ground, but superficially. So you can see already it's a very different energy from Scorpio. Scorpios like to probe. They're about depth. And Geminis are about having all these experiences, but not to the depth that a Scorpio would typically seek to have them. All right. What else? Gemini people tend to take things lightly. Air signs tend to be a little bit more lighthearted. So they typically don't like drama. Gemini people live on their nerves, and they're often triggered by these dramatic displays of emotion. Okay, that makes it challenging to parent if you're a Gemini parent and you're parenting a Scorpio child. But they typically take life a little more lightly, so they're not into drama. But a Scorpio is all about drama. So you can already see some of the challenges here. So Gemini is also the nature of air. This is consistent with the nature of air. They like to be free from encumbrances. They like to have the freedom to kind of do their own things. Sometimes the responsibilities and duties of parenthood can feel burdensome to a Gemini parent, because they like to have freedom to do their own things. This is something to be aware of. It's okay to feel overburdened sometimes. Parents, we're human, we're not robots. We feel overwhelmed and overstimulated sometimes. Remember that that's part of the Gemini nature, is to seek freedom. So you may have to build in extra breaks, right, in your routine for you to do the things you want to do. What else? So because the Scorpio bonds so closely with a parent, the Scorpio children can appear to be very clingy to the Gemini parent. The Gemini parent needs to understand this is how the Scorpio child is. They need a lot of attention and affection from parents. This is necessary for their healthy emotional development to grow up into emotionally healthy adults. Okay. Scorpio likes to feel deeply, right? Sometimes this leads the Scorpio children to have kind of dramatic displays of emotion. Geminis typically do not talk. They love to talk, but they typically do not talk about their deepest core emotions. Those are locked up tight. So again, that's very different. Okay. All right. So now we're going to talk about how those traits, you can actually use those traits to help each other develop your characteristics in a healthy way. So Geminis, being an air sign, they come from a place of logic and detachment and rationality, much more so than a place of emotion. They can teach Scorpio how to consider things from a more detached manner, how to step back and look at the big picture, step away from your emotions for a second, acknowledge the emotions, but step away from your emotions and look at the big picture and see things from another person's point of view. Air signs are very good at doing that. Okay. Now, Geminis also, approaching the world more from a place of logic, they can benefit from developing their empathy. Scorpio children have deep empathy. It is one of the fascinating and fantastic traits about the sign. They identify with emotions of other people, very empathic, very empathetic sign. So the Scorpio child can actually teach the Gemini parent and show the Gemini parent how to empathize. The Gemini parent, you have to empathize with the Scorpio child. You have to validate their emotions, right? So that's one of the ways that by displaying the emotions, the Gemini parent can learn to be more empathetic, not just with their children, but with people in general, to not only approach the world from a place of logic. And you can't change that about the person. The Gemini person is going to approach the world from a place of logic. But you can also acknowledge the feelings of other people with the logic. You can develop both, right, to be more well-rounded. Okay, and another thing about developing empathy for the Gemini parent is that to have kind of a healthy relationship, whether with your child or with your partner, with close friends, family members, you have to show some vulnerability at some point, and that's difficult for air signs to do. They do not like to show emotional vulnerability. It makes them uncomfortable, but it's necessary for fulfilling relationships to get that closeness, that real intimacy. So Scorpio children, by demonstrating the empathy and the display of emotion and the need to feel, can teach that to the Gemini parent. And that's kind of an interesting thing. And the Scorpio child will also almost force the Gemini parent to deal with the parent's own emotions, any repressed emotions or ways in which the parent was negatively conditioned as a child. If you have any work to do, if the parent has any work to do, healing from trauma, reparenting themselves, the Scorpio child will force you to do that. Ask me how I know. I've had to do that. And that takes a lot of emotional capital to do, to reparent yourself as an adult while you're parenting your child. But the Scorpio child is very good at demonstrating this need to the Gemini parent. And while dealing with your own emotions as an adult, any issues from your childhood is very uncomfortable, it is necessary for a fulfilling life. Okay. And what else? You will be more fulfilled for it. On the other hand, Scorpio children often feel overwhelmed and overstimulated by the emotions that they are having because they do not yet have the words to describe them. The Gemini people, probably their best trait is the ability to articulate things using precision of language. We'll actually talk about this in another video, just this trait, very soon. This is fascinating. Gemini people are very good at finding the words to articulate things and using precise language and pinpointing things using language. And this is where you can probably most help your Scorpio child, because to deal with emotions in a healthy way, you need to identify the emotion, articulate it, kind of sit with it for a little bit, acknowledge it, not repress it, and then release it. That's the healthy way to deal with emotions. And I found with my own child that just by talking about the emotion, he can release a lot of those negative feelings he has, and he can move on. That's an excellent way you can help your Scorpio child deal with their emotions. They will need help dealing with the overwhelming emotions they have. That is part of the Scorpio nature, and the children don't understand a lot of the times these emotions they're having, and the Gemini parent is extremely adept at helping the Scorpio child identify and talk about the emotions. That is a fantastic way you can help your Scorpio child. Okay. All right, we talked about that. Scorpio, we talked about, they tend to, being a fixed water sign, they tend to dwell on things from the past. They tend to dwell in the depths of their feelings and things that happened in the past. And because Geminis move on easily and take things more lightly, you can help your Scorpio child move on from things, not by repressing or invalidating emotions, making sure that they understand you have the absolute right to feel that way. You have the absolute right to think about the past if you want to, but don't get stuck there. It's really, the past doesn't even exist anymore. The only thing that exists now is the present. You could help your child move on, not by telling them that they should not feel X, Y, Z, by telling them they have the right to feel that way, and then helping them talk about it. And, well, what can we do? What do we have control over today? We don't have control over what happened in the past, but what do you have control over today, right? And Scorpio children, control is very important to them. Power is very important to them. And by helping them, by giving the Scorpio children age-appropriate responsibility and autonomy, that goes a long way to the parent-child bond. They need to have some autonomy and control over themselves. By letting them make simple decisions for themselves, by giving them responsibilities that will kind of feed the Scorpio need for power and control. One of the worst things you can do for a Scorpio child is just to not let them have any say in anything that happens to them. It always has to be age appropriate, but you need to give them some autonomy and independence over things that happen to them, whether it's choosing when they do chores or choosing dinner once in a while or choosing when they take a screen break, things like that. You need to give them independence. And that a lot of the Scorpio angst will dissipate when they have some autonomy over what happens to them. Okay, what else? All right, we talked about that. We talked about the Scorpio need to kind of feel the entire range of feelings associated with human experiences. And Gemini, being a very curious sign, can really help the Scorpio child by introducing them to all the world has to offer and all these different various activities. And that will feed the Scorpio's soul needs when they find the activities that they like to do, whether they're drawing or museums or certain types of TV programs or whatever. That will help their soul needs, because you have to fulfill the Scorpio's soul needs. More than just a typical play date, they need to have those soul needs fulfilled, and they need to find some meaning in life. My son said something very profound recently. He said, my days are pretty much the same. I get up, I go to school, I go homework, I game, and I go to sleep. I hope my days are not like that when I'm an adult. I hope that's not all there is. You have to remember to give them experiences other than just the day-to-day. Okay, and Gemini is very good at that, because Gemini people love to do things, love to travel. They're very curious, And you can do not be afraid to introduce your Scorpio child to all these things. Even if they protest at first, you can tell them, we're going to do this new activity one time. And if you hate it, you do not have to do it again, but we'll try it. Okay, Geminis are very good at that. So by all means, introduce your Scorpio child to all the activities the world has to offer, and then step back and let them decide what they like to do. Lastly, we're going to talk about some positive parenting tips for you Gemini parents. Number one is, as we said, Geminis can get very triggered by these kind of overdramatic displays of emotion from the Scorpio children. Do not overreact to your child. If you need to, take a breather, go to another room, take some deep breaths, use your power of detachment. Do not emotionally overreact. You will find that when you remain calm and do that consistently, the Scorpio child, when they get older, they will be able to remain calm. They will be calmer and calmer and overreact less and less with your example of calmness and not overreacting. It is okay to take breaks. Remember that. You'll need breaks. It's okay. Always show empathy for your Scorpio child and honor their need for alone time. If they tell you, I want to be left alone right now, just tell them, no problem, take your alone time, and let me know if you need anything. I am here if you need something. I guarantee you, after a few minutes of being alone, they will come seek you out for comfort. And remember, do not ever push your Scorpio child away when they come seeking you for comfort. You may feel that they're being clingy. You may feel overstimulated. Take a deep breath and always be open and receptive to them when they want to talk. They need to bond very closely with the parent. Okay, what else? Take your alone time when you need it. Scorpio children, especially older children, will understand this because they have a similar need. You can tell them, I just need a few minutes to myself or half an hour to myself, and then I will be happy to do whatever with you. I just need to decompress for a bit. You're human. And if there's one thing the Scorpio child understands, they understand pain and suffering. I don't know how, they understand it innately. So when you tell them, hey, I'm exhausted, or I'm just stressed from the day, I need a little bit of time to myself, and that I want, so I can be the best mom or dad possible for you, they will understand that. If you explain it like that, they will understand it. So do not be afraid to take your alone time when you need it. Younger Scorpio children really like to have physical contact with parents, especially the mom. Can feel a little bit overstimulating to Gemini moms because we live on our nerves. Just remember that they love to have the physical contact with mom. It doesn't mean that they're clingy. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be independent. Soon they will get older and they will not want to have as much physical contact with you. They will not want to hug you as much. And trust me, you will miss that physical contact with them. So take advantage of soaking up all the physical contact with them as often as you can. When they're little babies, you can use the carrier. I use a carrier with my son, and he would just nap on my chest, and I loved that. And today he's very independent, so there's no problem with that. You're not going to turn them into like a codependent adult just by having the physical contact with them. They need that when they're little, especially. Okay, what else? All right, always, we talked about this a little bit already, always use your gift of logic and detachment to help your Scorpio child look at things from a more detached, critical point of view, not identify with the emotions all the time. Remember, we are a container for our emotions and our thoughts. We are not defined by our emotions and our thoughts. Help your Scorpio child understand they are not defined by the emotions they are having. It's fine to have the emotion. That's fine. Sit with it, identify it, let it go. They are not defined by the emotions. That's something you can really help them with because they identify so strongly with the emotions that they're having. Okay. What else? We talked about that the Geminis feel overburdened by commitment sometimes, including once in a while the commitment of parenting. Parenting is a lot to handle. It's hard to be on all the time, especially if you have a full-time job, multiple children, doing other things. It's hard to be on all the time. Take your breaks when you need them. Do less to do more. Pare down your life if it's too stressful to the extent that you can. Take your alone time when you need it. So you can be the best parent possible for your child and be open and receptive to them when they most need you. Okay. Right. And show your Scorpio child attention and affection whenever they really need it. Scorpios need, as all children do, unconditional love and support. When they have that, they really blossom and become independent. They have this stable base of affection and attention and unconditional love and support from the parents, they really thrive when they have that. Make sure they know that you love them no matter what, that your love is not dependent on their grades, on whether they do chores, on their behavior, anything. You love them unconditionally, period, the end. Okay, and we talked about this a little bit. Gemini people move at a very fast pace. I do. I move fast. I talk fast. I tend to do everything fast. Scorpio nature is kind of a slower, plodding movement, and sometimes Gemini parents get frustrated with that slow movement of the Scorpio. Remember that that's how they are. They are not like you. They are different from you. Remember that that's their nature. Do not rush them. Build in extra time if you need to. Go, if they're taking too long to do something, go occupy your mind with a book or something else. Remember that that's how they are. Always respect the intrinsic nature of the child. Never make the child feel bad for being how they inherently are. Okay, and that's it for the most part. Always remember to show your child unconditional love and support, that they know you have their back all the time. So, 2 quick things. My book on Scorpio children is available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo. You can get the first 2 chapters for free by clicking on the link in the video description. And please like this video and subscribe to my channel to get your free weekly parenting content. And next up, you can watch my video on how to parent Scorpio sun children and my video on how to parent Scorpio moon children. And please let me know what you think of this video by leaving a comment below. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week.